So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Should you buy the iPhone XS Max in 2021? Now, I've had this phone since launch, so this is my iPhone XS Max right here. This device now can be had for more than half less than when I purchased this. I purchased this at like $1,200. This thing now costs like 400 something, depending on where you look. Might be used, but still, that's a pretty good deal right now on a device like this. So the first thing I want to talk about, and just be brutally honest with you, is the body. How has it held up? And I could state that it's held up phenomenally well. Now, you're not going to see it because I do have the gold model, but in the back glass there are a couple nicks here and there. Nothing too serious, but this device right here has overall on the sides held up very well. And I think that if you go with an iPhone, you should go with a painted color stainless steel. So you should go with one that's not silver, for example, if you care a lot about scratching. If you like the silver color, just be aware that is the bare stainless steel. You might actually see some scratching on the silver model, but mine has held up well. I do have to say that all these iPhones with the stainless steel edges do get a lot of smudging going on. I have had it in a screen protector on the front of the device, so not much scratching on the front, but I can tell you if you do not put a screen protector, this phone will have several scratches on the front of the display over its usage. It still feels comfortable to hold due to its curved edges, and it's a little bit lighter, I feel like, than the iPhone 11 Pro Max and 12 Pro Max. Okay guys, so let's talk about the design of this device. Now, it looks to me like this phone has been around for quite some time because I've been reviewing devices and seeing the changes. For people who haven't had one of these devices, it's going to feel super new compared to like if you had an iPhone 8, 7, or if you're coming from an older device or nothing that was this premium, this is going to feel extremely nice. But in the iPhone land, it's kind of like, the cameras are what's making this thing look a little bit dated. If you just swap the cameras and put triple cameras there, the stovetop design, this definitely would look like a newer iPhone over here. So it's really just that. I just think it's that camera bump that's changing this, making it look a little bit dated at this point. The iPhone X looks just like this, so people might confuse this device right here if you pick it up and an iPhone X. So let me know where you think the iPhone XS Max stands now in design. Like, how far has it come? Do you think it just looks overly dated right now? You wouldn't even touch something that looks like this? Let us know down below. Okay guys, so let's talk about the display of the iPhone XS Max in 2021. So this is a 6.5 inch. So the notch doesn't really bug too much because this is a plenty large display. It's also very sharp, over 450 ppi on this panel, so very good. Also, it gets bright at 625 nits. You're not going to have no problem with the brightness. This display also has 3D touch. In addition to that, it does have true tone, dark mode, and night shift. So just like the other phones, you could schedule that stuff out. Makes it easy on your eyes pretty much every time you're using it. Now, the thing about this display also is that because it's wrapped in a body that's pretty comfortable, even though this is a large panel, for a bigger phone, this one's actually quite easy to hold one-handed, especially if you have decent sized hands. This thing is not that difficult to operate with one hand. So large display in a comfortable format, and overall viewing angles just absolutely beautiful on this. Watching media content on this phone is also very good. So I don't really have a major issue with anything or any major critiques with this display overall, except for the fact that they improved the bezels on the newer ones, and we want to see something more of an all screen in the future. But at this point, they've been doing this for the next several years after, the next couple of years after, in the 11 Pro Max and 12 Pro Max. So yes, very good display, easily beats out the iPhone 7 Plus and 8 Plus that came before this. So when it comes to software, this phone is running iOS 14.4. Now, should you buy this in 2021 in terms of software? When it comes to the actual user experience, there's an undoubted yes here. Definitely you should. If you're looking at this device and you're like, am I going to get the latest software? You definitely are going to benefit from the same benefits newer iPhone users are benefiting from. However, you have to keep in mind that this one, because it has slightly older age, it definitely might not last as long as those newer phones in terms of software support. So this did come out in 2018, but keep in mind, you do have maybe 2 to 3 years. It might even push a little past that considering how powerful the iPhone XS Max is. So if you bought it now and you wanted to upgrade in 2 years, you should still be on the latest software here for the iPhone XS Max, and it has all the latest privacy features as well as the app library, widgets, plenty of space to put those widgets on screen, and it's super smooth just like those newer phones. So thumbs up on the software, still pretty amazing here for the iPhone XS Max. So when it comes to performance, this thing does have the A12 Bionic, and when Apple came out with the A11, I thought that's when their processors were going super beast mode. Nah, the A12 is when it really started getting extremely fast. Like, I still got the 2018 iPad Pro the same year this phone came out. This thing does not break a sweat no matter what you're doing. And this is the first phone when I was just like, after this, I was like, I don't even care about the processor. Give me a different camera. Give me better battery life. Yeah, they got faster, but who really cares? I mean, you can use a XS Max in 2021. You can use an 11 Pro Max, 12 Pro Max in 2021, and you're not going to do a task hardly any faster than the person next to you with this iPhone XS Max. So you're not really flexing on anything with a newer processor right now. The A12 is still a beast. Now, where you might see a performance boost on the 12 Pro Max, the newer devices, is especially the 12 Pro Max, not really the 11 Pro Max, is the RAM. So when I reopen things that have been held in memory, sometimes they will relaunch stuff like that right there. They will relaunch things. So 4 gigs of RAM, definitely not the most RAM for a phone like this anymore. So you're not gonna be able to hold 25 apps open at once, but everything is slick, smooth. It's like butter on this phone. No 120 hertz display, but still the performance here is very impressive on the iPhone XS Max. So I briefly want to cover the storage. Should you buy this in terms of the storage? Now you can get this in 64, 256, 512, and the answer is yes. There's plenty of storage available, but try to stay away from the 64 if you know you're going to be using this thing a lot, because this thing is capable up to 4K 60 and it will chew through your storage if you're doing a lot of high-end video on this phone. Okay, so let's talk about the cameras. I'm gonna use this camera as a camera example here, but we're gonna take a couple photos here. Now, if you've watched any of my previous iPhone XS Max content prior to 2021, you will know that I rant and raved about this camera and about how good it was. The focus on this thing is absolutely incredible. You basically will never miss focus on this. Bringing Smart HDR, it gave these photos a level of pop, a level of vibrancy that I haven't seen before on iPhones. Really good stuff there. Portrait mode also improved over prior portrait modes. You had panoramic. You also had a 4K 60 video that improved on the iPhone 8 Plus's video, definitely. It just looks so smooth and crispy, and really, this can definitely suffice at being a really good option to start a YouTube channel in 2021. Or if you're like just using it for social media, building your brand up, definitely over here, got plenty of quality. Where you do miss out though is the ultra wide angle. Pretty much every phone, even cheaper phones, you know, Galaxy A51s for 200, 300 bucks have ultra wide angle cameras. So this thing is a little bit behind there, but I would trade the much better results of these main sensors for some of those cheaper phones that are giving you like 6 cameras, but they kind of suck, you know what I mean, at this price point. So these are very good overall cameras. Now the front does suffer a little bit like the 10R from not matching up perfect. The 11 series brought the perfect matching, you know, 12 megapixel to the 12 megapixel on the rear. So I will say if you want the best selfie quality, you might want to get something newer, but this is not a bad overall option either. Still, it's going to be plenty suffice for most people. And let me give you a quick peek of some of the samples I got on this phone. I mean, look at these results. Absolutely stunning here. I mean, looking at this and looking at a newer phone, I don't really see major differences. Extremely good results, especially in good lighting. This doesn't have night modes, so you'll have to download a third-party application. But I mean, the overall dynamic range, the, you know, colors, very natural. The sharpness, plenty of vivid details. You gotta state, I gotta state, this is just phenomenal results here for a smartphone camera. So you're not going to be disappointed with XS Max. So in 2021, when it comes to the audio, you can flex on the benchmark scores, but it probably won't really matter in the future. What will really matter more, stereo sound. Sounds fantastic. Now we don't have, you know, headphone jack. We will be using AirPods with this one, but the audio is fine on this device. It truly is. And that brings us on to the battery life section of this phone. How does the XS Max perform? And to me, this phone is not overly impressive in the battery life, but it's not underperformer either. This phone gets through the day just fine. It actually beats out the smaller XS, and a lot of people would have bought this phone in 2018 to get better battery life than the smaller 10s, to be quite fair. And it definitely does hold up very well over the day. Now, does this beat out the 11 Pro Max? No way. That phone gets an hour to two better. So if you want to pay a little bit more, get a little bit longer battery life, consider the 11 Pro Max. But on regular usage, you will easily get through the day on this phone. It does support wireless charging and fast charging, provided that you do have those accessories to do that with this phone. And finally, let's touch up on phone call quality and 4G LTE. Now, I've said this multiple times with not having Qualcomm modems in this phone. If you get in areas that are not, the best, for coverage, you're going to struggle a little bit with the XS Max. I also found this phone to never really hold on to my mobile data as strong as competing Samsung phones at the time. So I don't think this is the best option for those of you who are constantly relying on 4G LTE, or this doesn't have 5G, so mobile performance, this is not the overall best. But if you're in a good coverage area, your carrier is in a good X section of the city or town that you're in, you're going to get good coverage anyway, this phone will be really good. But phone call quality, when you do have great reception, does sound fantastic. The speakers are definitely loud enough. And this is not a deal breaker, but I would say they're better phones if you want faster mobile performance. And keep in mind, you are on 4G LTE here. It depends on your area and how consistent the 5G speeds are. Right now, I couldn't recommend it if you wanted 5G. But if you can live with 4G LTE for maybe 2 more years, by then the 5G will probably be a lot more widespread, a lot more consistent. You could probably hold on to this for a couple years and be just fine. So in conclusion, this one's a pretty simple one. Who should upgrade to this? Well, first of all, I think you should be coming from an older iPhone. If you're upgrading to this, you've been waiting for the price to come down on this phone. You love the design of it, but you said it was too much when it first came out. At this point, you can snag one of these much cheaper. If you don't need the ultra wide, because cheap Android phones have ultra wide 4 cameras, this one definitely doesn't give you that versatility, but it will give you better results than like 99% of those phones in the main shooters and the telephoto. If you don't need 5G at this time, you don't care, but you want a big iPhone that feels something like the 12 Pro Max, but that one's just too out of your price range right now, consider the XS Max. It will be a fantastic option for a couple of years. For those of you who have already moved past this, thank you for watching. If you watched through anyway just because you love tech, thumbs up to you. But if you have an Android phone that's kind of in the same year and you want to sidestep to Apple here, this definitely would be a great option as well. So let me know your thoughts on the XS Max. Are you picking it up in 2021? Let us know down below. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well, and peace.